Welcome to the LDN Radio Show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low dose naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about alcohol use disorder, or AUD. I've had a really interesting conversation with Dr. Burke Berkson, who has talked about issues with liver damage caused through alcohol use disorder and how alpha-lipoic acid can regenerate the liver. We've also spoken to Dr. Jill Cattell, who is using LDN, full-strength naltrexone in her practice with the Sinclair method using the pulse dosing, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. And Dr. Jill Cattell also gave an hour's presentation, recorded presentation, at the LDN 2017 conference, which is available online if anybody is interested. And today our guest is Anthony. He's from England, and he uses the naltrexone in the pulse dosing of the Sinclair method for alcohol use disorder. Thank you for joining us today, Anthony.
Well, hello, you're right there.
Thank you. So, can you tell us, how long ago was it that you found you had an alcohol problem?
To be honest with you, I've been drinking for a number of years. I mean, probably since I was in my teens. And I always knew that I was a little bit different from other sort of drinkers because I always used to carry on drinking, even when they stopped drinking. But I would say that my alcoholism became stronger probably in my 20s, if I'm being honest, and sort of going right up into my 30s. And it just got uncontrollable because I kept on, I couldn't go without a drink. It got to the point where there was never a day I went without alcohol. And I knew that there was something kind of wrong with me because I would kind of chase for the drink at points. And I'd literally make sure I always had drinking, chased for it. And I would say I come to the conclusion I had to do something when I was about 30 years old, just after my 31. Mm-hmm. And then basically, like I said, I went to my doctors. My doctor gave me a medication called Campril or Camprosate. And then they tried me out on that to sort of reduce my intake of alcohol. And then they sent me to groups. And I tried the groups and, I was sort of like, it became from chronic alcoholic to binge drinking. But the binges became heavier and heavier and heavier every time I relapsed. And I knew that something was terribly wrong because it got to the point that I didn't even remember picking up the first drink. So I used to have like big splurts, like where I would sort of relapse for 3-4 days. And I used to think, I used to come and think, what is wrong with me? Why do I keep on drinking? Anyway, on my journey, I kept on typing up things online. And I watched this little video on the Sinclair method by an actress called Claudia Christian. And I kept on playing over and over and over and over again. Obviously, when I spoke to my doctors about this medication, naltrexone, and I said, listen, I found out about this medication, none of my doctors knew what it was, and they weren't prepared to give it to me, to be honest. When I first got naltrexone, it was quite strange, really, because I was in the middle of a relapse at that time. So it was just before I went away in May, just gone, 2017. So I was dying to try this naltrexone. I was just sort of urging to try naltrexone. So I went on holiday, and at the time I was having withdrawals from obviously this relapse sort of while I'm abroad. And I went out one night to a bar, and basically I took the pill an hour before, and I literally went to the bar and I bought a glass of wine. I had a glass of wine in front of me, and it was really strange. The feeling was really strange. It was kind of like I had a few sips of this glass of wine, and I'm sitting there in company, and the wine just kind of sat there for literally nearly all of the night. And to be honest, the only reason I completed the glass of wine was because I was in such good company. I thought to myself straight away, is it a case of I'm on holiday, I'm relaxed, I'm in a warm climate and things like that? That's why I'm not I'm relaxed. That's probably why I'm not carrying on. I wasn't sure what it was. So anyway, I thought, right, continue trying, taking the low dose, the naltrexone. Anyway, I took the naltrexone. The following day, a similar thing happened. It was almost like someone put a plate of food in front of me, and after a drink or two, I was bloated. I couldn't eat no more. It was the same kind of feeling, but with the alcohol. And it was just a really strange feeling. And, you know, I carried on through that when I came back. I told my doctor when I came back what happened. And he was like, right, that's great. And then, like I said, I've been on the treatment ever since. I've been on the treatment now for about 9 months, coming end of May, 8-9 months now. And when they say pharmacological extinction in the Sinclair method, I actually understand what they mean. Because at the beginning of my journey, before I was on naltrexone, any argument that I would get in, any situation that I would get in, I would get a mad craving for alcohol. It was like an excuse to drink. And the drink would take over me. So if I was angry, I would want to drink alcohol. In the later months, I noticed even when I was in troubled situations, or I would get really angry about a situation or a position that I was in, the alcohol, I would kind of still get angry, but I wouldn't naturally think of alcohol straight away. Mm-hmm. So it kind of like got rid of that. It was almost like I'm angry, but what do I do? Where before then, it would have been like, I'm angry, I need to drink alcohol. So it literally took that craving away. And he actually put me back in the driver's seat with my addiction. You know, I mean, I found it really difficult because, I mean, I live in London, so where I am, it's more in the suburbs, you know, after hours, sort of after 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, there's nothing to do apart from go to a local pub. So, you know, it was getting to the point that I was isolating myself. I was staying indoors. You know, I was being told by doctors and, you know, if you don't want a haircut, don't go to a barbershop. You know, you don't go to a barbershop. You know, they were telling me these little quotes to kind of like make me sort of change what I was doing. And I was staying indoors and doing stuff like that. But after a while, I was isolating myself from my addiction. You know, I was going, well, I'm not going to go out because if I go out, I'm going to want to drink. So I wouldn't go out. I've noticed since I've been on this treatment, I've had choice, you know, and because I've had choice to always have a drink or not have a drink, because I'm on the Sinclair method, the compulsions become less and less and less. So I don't necessarily feel like I want to go out and drink. It's more I want to go out and socialise, knowing that I can have a drink. You know, it's almost putting me back in the driver's seat. It's giving me control back, and I've never had that. I'm a very in control person when it comes down to most things. But one thing I would say, anyone with alcohol dependence, and I do deeply understand and empathise, it does take over your life. And it gets to the point where you can't function without alcohol. It's a vicious circle. You almost get scared for the withdrawals. But the alcohol takes over you, you know, to the point where, you know, people always say it's a willpower thing with alcohol. And I always thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there is something wrong with me. But obviously in later research, obviously, you know, more evidence has come out that, you know, alcoholism is an actual disease of the brain. You know, and it is, you know, I used to go into AA groups and I used to sit there and everyone looked so miserable, you know. They'd be sitting there talking about how they affected other people's lives through the drink and all the rest of it. And it was almost kind of, I felt it was quite a religious kind of event that I was going to. But I would have tried anything. I tried that. I tried smart recovery. You know, I would have tried absolutely anything. And when I found what I found, it was remarkable because it gave me control again. You know, I mean, I'm only in my 30s, so early 30s. So for me, I won't say alcohol is an important part of my life, but the habit of going out and socialising, that's still very important to me. And when you're around people that are kind of like drinking, at one point when it was like I was around people that were drinking a lot or going out drinking, I think to myself, God, I want to do that, but I can't do that. I can't drink. I can't do what they do. There's something wrong with me. I'm damaged. My head is damaged. And it used to really physically and mentally affect me. It really did. It got me on many a downers. But when I started taking the the naltrexone, and I started being able to go out, and it was almost like wearing a condom in my brain. That's the only way I could describe it. It was like a mask for my head. And it gave me control, and it felt actually good being able to go out and have one drink and go, no, I've had enough now. I don't want any more alcohol. I don't need that no more. You know?
So the naltrexone has actually allowed you to still go out and socialise and have a good time without the need to have the alcohol. Yeah,
completely. And the thing is, it gives me choice. You see, because, you know, obviously young people, I think we go out nowadays, especially nowadays, obviously local areas, anything that's open is pubs, you know, so it gives me choice. So if I do go out and I do get the urge, I don't even get the urge to drink no more. I think it's just because I enjoy sometimes drinking. I'm drinking safely, knowing that I ain't going to go crazy. You know I can have one or two drinks now and I will stop. It just blocks that part of my brain that tells me carry on drinking. You know, I used to get really, like, when I stopped drinking at the beginning, I used to get really scared at times because I used to go to the supermarket and I would have to stand there and stop myself. You know, looking at the alcohol section, the red wine. I was a big red wine lover and a whiskey lover. And I used to sometimes have to stop for like literally 60 seconds and kind of catch a breath because I used to get that craving to want to buy alcohol. You know, I don't get that no more. You know, I don't get that no more. I go into a shop now and it's like, oh, it's wine. Oh, I don't even get the craving to want to buy it or to have the desire to purchase it now. You know, it is what it is.
Would you say you feel less angry now? Are your moods more stable?
I suffer with anxiety and depression. I've been suffering for it for a long time, and I'm under my doctors for that as well. But I think what it is now is I use my time wisely because I haven't got that addiction to try and find activities other than alcohol to occupy my time. Which put my mind into other hobbies. So, you know, when I was craving alcohol, it was all AA. Where now it's kind of like finding hobbies in my spare time. And, you know, I want to help out other addicts. I'd love to help out other addicts. that are going through the same kind of thing that I went through. So I do a lot of research in my spare time. I also do baking. I like to bake cakes and things like that when I'm bored. And I use my time wisely now. You know, I don't just sit there and go, well, you know, I would say, yeah, the anger has died down a little bit. I still get angry, but I think you still need aftercare, because I think even though the physical addiction kind of disappears and fades in the background, the mental kind of brain of an addict, you have to kind of use that time to find other activities to occupy your time, whether that will be reading, cooking, I don't know, baking, knitting, you know, whatever it is that makes you tick. I think that's what you have to do, you know. And you know, I find that it's made me use my time more wisely. And like I said, I've really got mentally involved with this kind of treatment, because obviously it ain't widely prescribed to people.
Yes.
And I believe in it. I really strongly believe in LDN, and I really do think that it could save addicts' lives, literally. I mean, I was a chronic alcoholic. I was drinking 2 bottles of scotch a night towards the end of my addiction, you know, literally. And that was a daily habit. It was getting more and more expensive, you know, where there would be days I wouldn't have no gas, no electricity. I would just have to chase for that drink, you know, because it makes me feel better.
Yes, we've nearly run out of time, Anthony. Could you just tell us how many days a week now do you find yourself drinking alcohol using the Sinclair method?
It's weird. I think probably once every 5 weeks, and I have about 2 drinks.
Wow, that is amazing, isn't it? You have done so well. And you said you would like to help people. If we have any listeners out there who have an alcohol use disorder and would like somebody to talk to, if they contact me, Linda at ldnrt.org, would it be all right for me to introduce you to these people?
Almost definitely, 100%. I'd love to give back into the LDN community all day, every day, definitely.
Well, we would all like to wish you Happy New Year and every success for the future.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This show is sponsored by our members who made donations. We'd like to give them a very big thank you. We have to cover the monthly costs of the radio station's software, bandwidth, phone lines and phone calls to be able to continue with the radio show. And thank you for listening. Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.